Hello, and welcome to the 2021 Veterans Florida Virtual Expo, sponsored by Bank of America. This is the entrepreneurship panel about co-working spaces as a veteran resource. I'm Amy Entris, and I'm the Entrepreneurship Development Manager at Veterans Florida, and I'm a Navy veteran. My background is in program management in a few different industries, including government contracting, agriculture, and also I have personal experience as an entrepreneur. So we'll go ahead and get started and have introductions. And if you would please introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit more about your co-working space. And we'll start with you, Tina.
Thank you, Amy. My name is Tina Fisher, and my law partner, Lee Fletcher, and I started Rising Tide Innovation Center in 2017. We moved into a historic building in downtown St. Petersburg and renovated the top floor. We changed very quickly to realizing that we needed more space. We renovated the third floor below us, took that over, and then at the beginning of this year, we just took the second floor over. So we are about a 12,000 square foot co-working space here in the downtown area. Again, as I said, Lee and I are both attorneys. We do commercial real estate and business law. So when we decided to change our location, we found a place where we could meet people and where we could help people with the skills that we have as attorneys, and with the ability that we have to develop a space where other people can share in the resources that we need. So that's kind of an overview of how we got where we are, but we're a mission-driven co-working community here. We give professionals, entrepreneurs, and budding entrepreneurs the access for resources that allow them to grow their businesses. In addition, we give them, as a bonus of membership, 1 hour a month of free legal advice from our business law attorneys that help them with their business. I am an Air Force veteran and started out as a flyer on 141s, transitioned to being a paralegal when I had kids, decided that flying was no good for me anymore. And after working in the legal field for a little while, I decided I could do that too. So I went to law school, and here I am.
What a great journey. Thank you. Jaren, would you like to go next?
Sure. My name is Jaren Eisenberg. I am the CEO of Groundswell Startups, and we are a high-tech incubator and co-working space located here in Melbourne, Florida, which is on Florida's Space Coast, where all the rockets are launching from. What we do really well is we bring quality vetted resources to high-tech founders and help them scale their idea. We have helped over 35 companies access over $50 million in venture capital funds. So we have a great network. If it's a good idea, we can get it funded. We're also pretty unique in that we have a prototyping lab in the back of our co-working space, which means that you can walk into our building, and if you have a product you want to bring to life, we can design it, we can rapid prototype it, small run manufacturing, and then help you build a website and launch your business.
Wow, that's great. That's a one-stop shop. We like that. Robert?
Wonderful. My name is Robert Blackledge. I'm the executive director at Domi Station. Domi has been working as a co-working incubator in Tallahassee, Florida for over the last 6 years, where we've had an over $100 million impact in the local area and beyond. We focus on a hybrid incubation process, allowing a wide reach of entrepreneurs. I myself am an Air Force veteran and a serial entrepreneur, and know firsthand the difficulties of launching a business, hiring employees, and growing your company. I'm really excited for our conversation today, and thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you all for being here. So now that we've learned a little bit more about your individual co-working spaces, let's discuss a little bit more about what are the benefits of using a co-working space as opposed to, working from home.
Absolutely. So for us, we really build our community around 4 core things. The community for support. Entrepreneurship can be a really lonely road, and you need that community to lean on. Guidance. We have mentors, special interests that can help support you and identify how you need to best move forward. And then lastly, education. We help to teach you what you don't know you need to know about entrepreneurship. So really putting those pieces together to have an impact on a much broader scale.
Sure. Yeah. With that being said, I mean, I would imagine that's a common theme for all of the co-working spaces. Um, so not only are there these direct benefits, as you mentioned, Robert, but our veterans have a lot of choices, and of course, especially in a startup phase, very limited on funding. So usually, how does someone determine if that co-working space is a good fit for them?
I think it really comes down to if you're an entrepreneur that wants to be part of a community. And I think that's what veterans are seeking. They want to be part of a group. They want to feel like they're part of a cohort, so to speak. So I think, being in a co-working space enables veterans to have those random conversations, to make these connections, to make friends. We have a number of veteran-founded companies at Groundswell Startups, but we also have people that come to the Space Coast because they're going to be at Patrick Air Force Base, and their spouses are looking to get connected to the community and feel part of something bigger than themselves. So for them to be able to come into our community, get business, work for our companies, I think it enables them to feel part of where they are faster, and they make friends. And that's a huge benefit of being part of a co-working space, is finding like-minded people. We have a veteran who's new to our community, and one of our other companies is teaching him to surf, and they go surfing sometimes together. And that's been a huge benefit to him for his mental wellness while he's here pushing his company forward.
I agree 100% with everything both of you have said. I think that that sense of community is definitely something that you miss when you separate from whatever your service is, and being able to step back into a place where, as you said, like-minded people are working together towards, not necessarily a common goal, but a very, very similar goal. I think it really helps veterans who are transitioning out and their spouses. I think one of the other things that we try to focus on here is making those connections between the members, because what we found is that we all come from different backgrounds. We all have different circles outside of this co-work space. So, that's a benefit to everybody else that's here. Because of what we do, we have a lot of communication and contacts with the city and with the chamber and with a lot of local smaller business organizations that are around here. So for the purposes of our veterans, we have the ability to introduce them to people that otherwise they would never be able to get introduced to. And when they pitch what they're doing to these people and they explain to them, what their vision is, these are people who can help them. These are people who can, go to, the chamber and say, hey, this guy's got a great idea, or this woman is doing something really amazing, and we think you should meet them. And from that, it grows and they grow. So I think that's one of the most important things is to, really be able to help your community members and have a community that wants to help other members.
Yes. So basically, is not only is it a nice place, to work because it could be quiet, or it's allows collaboration, but also facilitates networking, like you said, Tina, with the community, with other professionals in the industry. So that's really important in entrepreneurship.
And it's interesting too, we get a lot of people that come in here and take a tour and say, this is a nice space. I've looked at other spaces too. I'm just trying to figure out which is best for me. We tell them each time that, and I think it's ringing true throughout the entire course of our business, is that you're either going to feel comfortable in a space or you're not. They're all going to have their positive points. Some are going to be, some may be your style, some may not be your style. And if you can walk into a place and feel comfortable and like you're welcome, then that's where you probably belong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we often talk about, the startup phase of having your own business organization company. But when is it a good point to start looking into using a co-working space?
I think the earlier the better. I would say that probably all of our missions are to bring the best resources we can to entrepreneurs as early in the process as we can, to help them from, try to prevent them from making mistakes, which can often be expensive mistakes. So to be part of a co-working space where you can get free legal advice and help with incorporating your business and saying to you, hey, what does it mean to be a veteran-owned business? And what does it mean to get these contracts is super powerful in helping to shape that idea very early. So I would say, pop into places like ours, pop into places like the Small Business Development Center. If there's a women's business center by you, get connected to all of these resources that are designed to do kind of full wraparound services to help you explore your idea.
I think one of the most important things to realize is that nothing we do alone. It's all relationship based, and you have community resources that are built on relationships readily available to you in these co-working spaces. And for ours in particular, and probably everyone on this call, we hold events in the space to expose you to those. That's part of the core part of what we're doing for the community. Secondary is the co-working in the space.
Yeah, that's a good point. And, there's so much that you can do on your own, but it's amazing what happens in those moments when you're working with other people, sharing ideas. And there's just an energy there that I think is definitely present in your co-working spaces. So, well, we've talked a little bit, we talked a little bit about the benefits of the co-working spaces and how you determine what's a good fit. What's your advice to an entrepreneur, a vetrepreneur who wants to get started on having their own company? Any words of wisdom?
Ask for help.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think veterans sometimes have problems asking other people for help. And it's a hard thing for them to realize that they can't do everything on their own. They feel like they should. But help is there. And there are so many people that want to help, that feel great about being able to do that for people. Because, as the name of our co-work it says, a rising tide lifts all boats. We're here to lift each other up. That means we're all here to help each other in whatever way we can. So.
I would also add that if your local co-working space or incubator has an accelerator program, join it. Because what you're going to get through that is a systematic way to explore your ideas, to do customer discovery, to build out revenue models. But along the way, you're going to do it in a cohort environment. Connections are going to be facilitated for you. And I think that's a really great starting point to building a foundation to launching your business. And it doesn't matter if that idea that you went into the accelerator with, you decide not to do later on, you're going to be able to provide that systematic way of thinking to all of the ideas that you have, because we know that these veterans are extremely resourceful and knowledgeable, and they don't just have one idea, they have a couple ideas, right? So learning how to process that for your journey ahead, I think is super important. And then you get to have that sense of community by doing it in a cohort structured environment.
To your point, you will fail. You will fail. And it's what you do after you fail that makes the difference between success and failure.
Mm-hmm. So, Jaren, and I don't mean to put you on the spot, but a lot of questions that we get are geared around on the difference between a co-working space and an accelerator. So, would you mind just briefly explaining the difference, or if there is a difference?
Yeah, so our co-working space is made up of highly skilled professionals. They may be remote workers that don't want to work at home. They may be people that have a job but are kind of toying with a startup on the side, but they're basically individuals that want to utilize the space for work purposes, where companies that are in our incubator, our accelerator program, are really there to focus on their idea, learn how to validate it, and then how to scale it, many of whom are consistently, we're helping them with their pitch decks because they're working towards getting some funding at some point. And so we're trying to get them ready for those opportunities. The beauty of it all is that those individuals in your co-working space have the skills needed by the companies in your startups, and they can tap into each other's resources. So you could literally walk out of your office at Groundswell and go see someone sitting at a desk who's an amazing graphic designer, branding expert, and have these conversations that are super accessible to you. So they both work together really well. I would say one of our achievements over the past year has been really building out our co-working membership because they are so highly skilled and enable us to really service companies. That's like everything's kind of right under our roof. So I think they might be here for different purposes, but their commonality is that they're entrepreneurs that believe in collaboration.
Okay, thank you for that explanation. Yeah, there's so many, oftentimes when you're first getting into entrepreneurship, there are all these resources, and it's just a little overwhelming because you don't know the differences, you don't know the benefits. So that's very helpful to learn more about the difference and also the similarities. So,
Well, I think
go ahead, Robert.
to add
Yeah.
to add a thought, I think the reason that co-working spaces have added in these incubators and accelerators is because we are hubs of the community a lot of the times. And if we're not the best fit for you, we're going to tell you and we're going to guide you towards that resource that's going to be the best fit. I think one of the things that's so powerful about our ecosystems is it's not one organization, it's hundreds of organizations actively working together to help accelerate business growth and connections in the community.
Yeah, I agree. Well, for instance, we're not a true accelerator here. We have some, aspects that seem like we are an accelerator, but we're not. So we do a lot of partnerships with, Tampa Bay Wave, Tampa Bay Innovation Center, Embark Collectives, SCORE, the Greenhouse here in St. Petersburg. As we talk to our members and we identify things that they need, we know where we can send them and who we can connect them with to get them that additional support, to get them that additional training, the exposure to potential investors. So that's to your point of collaboration. We're one community, I think, between co-work centers, and we will, we will go back and forth. We'll recommend each other. So, and I think that's a great way to do business.
And you're to your point, we're not an accelerator either. We're an incubator, and we very clearly make that distinction in our community because we have accelerators. Innovation Park focuses on technology. Right. We have commercialization accelerators. We have high growth technology accelerators. But what Domi does is builds that foundation to allow you to then build the walls in the accelerator.
That makes a lot of sense. So, and that leads us into our next topic for discussion, which is other resources that are available to our veterans in the community, organizations that you've collaborated with that can help our veterans. Are there any, I know, Tina, you mentioned SCORE, Jaren, you mentioned SBDC. What are some other organizations that our veterans can, they can contact for assistance, or what are some organizations that you also work with in the community?
I think, go ahead. Absolutely.
Go for it.
I think one thing you want to be mindful of is that organizations that support veterans, they're just like the conversations we've been having. They're going to connect you to those additional resources. Right. At Bunker Labs, for example, I've had a tech startup company that launched, and that's what got me initially involved in what they're doing. But then that has allowed me to facilitate connections to other veteran entrepreneurs that are looking for those resources. And it's a community. So a lot of times, especially with veterans, these resources are communities of resources. And so you're always going to want to look out for those. You have 4Block, which is a phenomenal resource. You have Vets in Tech, you have Bunkers Labs, you have Veterans Florida has done a tremendous amount of work in the state. And so there is an endless number of resources. There's a few that are really good at it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. We have a really strong partnership with the chair who oversees the veteran-owned business meetup group that is here. that has been an excellent partnership with us, because if a veteran comes to us that doesn't know them, we can connect them. That's an instant kind of friendship that they're able to develop, and they're able to refer people to us. We have a really strong partnership with Starter Studio, which is an excellent incubator and co-working space in Orlando that we partner with, that has really broadened our network. But I would say find where the other veterans are. We're kind of unique in Brevard County that we're so heavily tech and defense based. So there's lots of people here that have experience getting these government contracts that can really guide our veterans if that's the path they want to go to. But yeah, find your people, see where they are, and connect with them.
I think, oh, go
go
ahead. Just a real quick comment. Veterans all have special interests, and so there are always veterans wherever you have interest. So go find them.
Mhm. We, one of the first partnerships that we made was with Valerie Levin and Action Zone here in the Tampa Bay area. She's fantastic. Nice thing about what Valerie does and what she has been doing is that she kind of goes around to different places. So, you know, she's a member here and occasionally uses the space and tries to, you know, collect a group of people from this local area, and she'll start training programs with them. And I think that those types of relationships, like you said, with other veteran organizations can be, incredibly helpful. Another one here is, I don't know if you've heard of the Mission United Tampa Bay organization. They are actually doing a lot of work here in the Tampa Bay area to help veterans who are transitioning, not only in terms of housing and how their benefits, but also in terms of helping them find jobs. And if if they don't know what they're doing, helping to guide them to places that'll help them figure that out. So that's a phenomenal organization.
Yes, thank you. I'm familiar with all the organizations that you've mentioned, and I think our audience should also take the time to become familiar. It is that they definitely provide a lot of help, assistance, and guidance in this entrepreneurial journey. So I think that at this point, I'll just open it up to any comments or anything you'd like to share with our audience before we conclude this panel. Is there anything anyone would like to add?
I think I just want to echo, ask for help. Help is there. There is a tremendous amount of resources. As a veteran myself and a lot of veterans that I talk to, we get out of the military. It's a completely different mindset in the civilian world. And there are a lot of vets who have made that transition successfully and want to help you do the same.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. I agree.
Yeah. Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much for your time today. And this has been very helpful. So appreciate all of your insight and your advice. And I hope you have a wonderful afternoon. So thanks again.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.